Hi there guys, I'm back just to do another history movie review this evening, and I'm going to be looking at a 2021 movie recently released. This one is The Last Duel, and yeah, it's recently come out and we had a little bit of problems trying to find a cinema that was showing The Last Duel, to be honest, so did manage to find one in the end, which was Showcase Cinemas, and I saw it twice, so goes to show how good it was actually. Um, really enjoyed this movie, and it's got a superb cast as well. Adam Driver, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and I thought the best performer in this movie was Jodie Comer as Lady Marguerite. She was absolutely amazing, and yeah. So just to let you know a little more about this movie, just to start off with a brief summary. So this movie, it is a historical true account. True account of the last official trial by combat in France, in the medieval France in the 1380s, I believe. The alleged the Lady Marguerite had alleged that a knight by the name of Jacques Legris, played by Adam Driver, the one with the black hair on the and the moustache on the poster there, had raped her and sexually assaulted her, and the only way that they could get any sort of redress was for her husband Matt Damon, plays a character by the name of Jean de Carouge, and took them to tribunal in France, appealed to the king, and he granted them a trial by combat, which is a true story. So yeah, we're just gonna get into this one then. So the film itself, it's a pretty long movie. It's 2.5 hours long. We get to see the different version of events about what happened from the three main characters in the story. So the first part of the movie, the first, say, I think it's 40 minutes, 45 minutes, it is taken from the point of view of Jean de Carouge, which is Matt Damon's character. Now, when you watch this first third of the movie, you see Matt Damon thinks of himself as more like a really stoic husband, a very wronged man. That other people's personal dislike of him has led him to be coming up short in terms of money to pay his dues to his feudal lord, which is Ben Affleck's character, Count Pierre Alençon, and he is passed over for a promotion to a captain's role. At the start of the movie, we see him taking decisive action against English soldiers during the 100 Years' War. We see him constantly having to go on campaign in Scotland because he's short of money. So he's thinking, if I can go there and do a little bit of campaigning, I'm going to get paid some money, but also whatever stuff that I end up, taking over, lands or people or ransom or booty or anything like that, then he will take it for himself. Then he comes across a gentleman who, he's a landowner, and he switched sides from supporting the English to supporting the French crown, and his daughter is Jodie Comer. So this is where she comes into the story, and we see that immediately that Matt Damon's character sort of puts it across that there was some sort of mutual attraction, and that that there was something that he was besotted by her, and that they do a business deal with the father to get a dowry, and then big plots of land. And all the while this is going on, his best friend, this Jacques Legris, played by Adam Driver from Star Wars, he is sort of buddying up with, and he's working on behalf of Ben Affleck's character, Count Pierre. He's one of the king's relatives and major landowners, and basically he's in charge of the two knights, both Legris and de Carouge, I should say. And then what we see then is he starts to sort of shake down the Matt Damon character for some rents, make it as if he's on his side. We see the sort of beginnings of the friendship starting to fray a little bit. Adam Driver's character is given land, which Matt Damon's character think is actually his from his dowry, marrying Jodie Comer. Later on, then they attend this big sort of social gathering function within one of the castles, and while introducing Jodie Comer to Adam Driver, there's quite a lingering sort of kiss there between the two. There's obviously something going on there. So what we see later on then is Jean de Carouge going to Scotland, fighting over there. He really puts himself across as the sort of the warrior at home, the man, the stoic warrior, doing everything he can for his home. Impeccable behaviour, strong but silent type of man, really wronged. And when he does come back from Scotland, his wife does tell him then that she's been assaulted by Legree, and that then kicks off the entire process of him appealing to the local court, and then appealing higher again to the Parliament of Paris and to the King himself as well to get granted this trial by combat. So in a nutshell, that's what the same theme is followed in the other parts. So Legree's chapter is very similar, however it shows the Matt Damon character as very, very reckless and very impetuous, very, very angry, not the type of person that can easily be gotten along with. Somebody who's always got a sort of a bee in his bonnet about something, somebody who perpetually feels that the world owes him something, or that he's been wronged by somebody. So we do start to see the friendship fraying, but more so from the Adam Driver character point of view. We see him buddying up with the Count Pierre character, the landowner, and see Adam Driver putting his accountancy and his tenancy abilities to the test. And this is what really does cause a little bit of the fray between the two characters, is the success and the financial success that Legree is having compared to the sort of perceived honours that de Carouge should be having, i.e. a captaincy, a knighthood, and obviously having way more of a better reputation within the sort of the nobility himself as well then. But Legree, we come to the part where we've got that social function again in the castle, and he seems to think that there's a lot more in there, that she lingered on the kiss with him. So immediately he goes to seek Lady Marguerite out and find out, what's all this about. I mean, he's single. I mean, he likes to put it about. That much is shown, obviously. He's shown having, massive amounts of group sex and drinking lots and partying with this Count Pierre, played by Ben Affleck. It's hard to know whether Ben Affleck was playing himself or the character, to be honest. It's probably the same person, but Adam Driver, when he's at this social function, he seeks out Jodie Comer. He knows that she's somebody who loves romance books, that she can speak different languages, German, that she's somebody who's very, very much into her romance and into her how can I put it, romantic version of the world, and she's a very, very sweet kindred heart, and he's trying to sort of latch onto that, and he becomes quite besotted with her, and that then triggers the point where we first see the event take place, put it that way, where Legree uses one of his squires to knock the castle door when he knows de Carouge is not there. He's in Scotland campaigning, and whilst Jodie Comer answers the door thinking, I'll let in hit the squire, he immediately barges in and pledges his love to her. She's immediately shocked, and the way that he puts it across is that he's trying to kiss her, he's trying to sort of show how much he loves her, and that she's playing hard to get, and he's chasing her up these steps, and it leads to the bedroom, and they basically, in his version of events, he thinks that they have very, very forward and very, very rough sex with, but as far as he's concerned, it's very consensual, and that she's looking for it. So this is where the the story now does turn like, I'm, from my point of view, the first two versions of the story about each character really just set up in each man's mind what they think has gone on. And really, for me, the final arbiter of this was watching Jodie Comer's final third of the movie, which was, it was her having to go through that scene again. But then when you rewatch it via Jodie Comer's version, it is, let's say, a lot more graphic, a lot more violent, a lot more unwanted, a lot more unsolicited, and you can see for sure, where you've compared immediately Adam Driver's events just before, that this guy is obviously reading into something. This guy is obviously, he takes what he wants, he gets what he wants. He's had a track record, and even from the Matt Damon character's point of view, you see the Adam Driver character getting what he wants each and every time. He's accumulating wealth and power and status, and he can take whatever woman he wants, so he'll take her. And as far as he's concerned, that, like, he does tell her at one point, don't speak of it, or your husband is going to kill you, type of thing, or he'll ruin you. Which I suppose back in those days, that could well have been some advice that a lot of women would have taken, but it doesn't make it right. And looking at it from this vantage point, centuries later, you can see that what had happened was incredibly wrong. But what probably is more shocking, that later on as the movie progresses, we see both Legree and de Carouge in front of the king at the Parliament of Paris, putting forth their cases about why they think they're innocent in Legree's case, and de Carouge why he wants to put to combat what's happened to his wife. And to be honest, that's really the only way in which you can get restitution, because in terms of the criminal court at that time, how can I put it? There was not a lot of avenues and not a lot of leeway for women in terms of what they were able to do to seek redress for what had happened. And in terms of women being Lady Marguerite being the property, by a legal definition of that time, being the property of her husband is the one who needs to seek redress, not her. So, but one of the main shocking parts of this was that if Matt Damon's character were to lose the duel, then Lady Marguerite would be burned at the stake, and she would be proved a liar, whether it was true or not. Because even if it was true, she would be burned at the stake because her husband had lost the duel. That's really shocking, and I'd like to see if there's any instances of that, to be honest with you, of that happening. Maybe it was just one of these things that were written down in as more of a threat than anything, to stop accusations coming forward, But anyways, we see the Jodie Comer third of the film, and we get straight to the duel then at the end. So if you don't want to find out what the result was, then if I were you, I'd come back at the later time and rewatch the end of the video. There is no boxing scorecards. There's no technical knockout. There's no you won 9 rounds to 2 or anything like that. It was a full on it is a trial by combat, combat to the death. So I'll go into it. So we see the two suited up. They shake hands on horseback, ready to begin the joust and the duel. It's quite intense. I liked the accuracy of the fight scenes, a lot of close combat, a lot of heavy uses of heavy blows to the head, to the body, but an awful lot then of trying to find the inside of of trying to hurt your opponent. Particularly Adam Driver's character was a lot taller. Um, Uses of various weapons, so you go from the lance on the horseback to the sword and axe to the dagger as well, then, and then finally to the hand to hand combat as well, then later on at the end of the movie. So Adam Driver's character does look as if he's going to win towards the end of the movie. He's pretty much hit an artery, I would say, of the Matt Damon character, and he's bleeding out pretty badly. I mean, most sensible people would say, right, you just leave him be, let him bleed out, and you've won. But Adam Driver's character doesn't take the chance. That's not the chivalric code of honor to do that. So he wants to defeat Matt Damon in hand-to-hand combat, and unfortunately for him, Matt Damon gets the better of him, gets on top of him, and is about to launch a dagger through the mouth of Legree, and just before he does, he asks him to confess. And this is where the more sort of confusing part of the story goes. Legree refuses to confess, and also states that what Lady Marguerite has alleged never actually happened, that he didn't do it, and that he didn't do anything she didn't want. So that part of the story, I think it's been left deliberately vague personally, so that you make up your own interpretation after seeing all three set parts of the movie. For me, I think that the Jodie Comer's version is very, very compelling, and I think that he did do it, and that he did rape her. But I think for posterity's sake, and for him never to be recorded as what he is, I think that during the combat section and the pre-death strike by Jean de Carouge, I think that he tried to save himself for posterity by saying no, he didn't do it. So that's just my take on it. We later find out that Lady Marguerite had a son, and that she lived on the estate well into her years. Jean de Carouge later on died in the Crusades, and died in what is today modern day Turkey. At the time it was the Byzantine Empire, and Legree was the one who died. So Matt Damon's character was the winner. Unfortunately for the Ben Affleck character, he lost one of his faithful deputies. We do see in the film the King of France, which is Charles VI, the Mad King, and interestingly, there is a bit of a sequel to this tale already. That's already been written, I should say, by the screenwriter and the novelist Eric Jager, who wrote the original book for this, The Last Duel, and it's called Blood Royal. I've actually started listening to this this month now, and it tells the story of the murder of Louis of Orleans, which is the brother of the king, in The Last Duel, and effectively how it plunged France into anarchy and a civil war immediately after. But you do see, and I thought the man who played the king played him very, very well. Not over the top, sort of insane, but you could see underlying currents of, this guy is really not put together. Probably a couple of generations of inbreeding has caused this, to be honest. But I thought overall the way the performances were, I thought Matt Damon's subtle changes between the first two sections of the movie were great. His sort of stoic, chest out, heroic type person, was fighting for what's right in the first part versus the really sort of irritatingly aggressive and, you know, completely utter fuck up of a husband and a bit of a brutish savage as he was in the second part. But for me, I thought the person who stole the show entirely was Jodie Comer, and we know how good she is. You know, she's been in Killing Eve on BBC. She's about to play Empress Josephine in the upcoming Napoleon movie with Joaquin Phoenix, which I can't wait to see, to be honest. And that's been directed as well by I think that's Ridley Scott as well, called Kit Bag. But yeah, overall, I mean, this is a superb movie, The Last Duel, and like I say, I watched it twice. It's got some pretty decent reviews already. I can see on IMDb is 7.5. People have rated that. It's not done as well, I think, because in the cinemas, I think I mean, for me, I think the COVID disruption has caused that, but also I think this movie maybe is about 2 years too old now, and the way I mean that is that, you know, this is very much a sort of capitalising on the Me Too phenomenon and the accusatory phenomenon that we saw a couple of years ago. And I think if this had been released in 2019 or 2018, I think you would have smashed the box office, maybe about 5 to 6, 700 million. But either way, it's still a brilliant movie, and I'm sure that they're getting lots of plays now because I think this is on Disney Plus. So yeah, you can catch it on Disney Plus, or if you're lucky enough, get into the cinemas. And definitely don't watch a pirated high seas stream like somebody I know. So yeah, if overall I'll give this a rating then. So my rating for this movie is 4 out of 5. I thought it was really well earned 4 out of 5. It could have been a bit more, but I just think that I've seen some better historical movies, which I could give 4.5 to, and 5 out of 5. Okay, so yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Have a look for yourselves, and if you wouldn't mind